and welcome to Die Rollin. I'm the ever excitable Adam.
And I am the very angry Jamie.
The curmudgeon that is Jamie. So, if you haven't seen them already, we have played a full session of Uprising of the past 4 videos, which hopefully will be over a series of days. And this is our final overview thoughts. This was a first impressions video for yourself, Jamie.
Yeah.
Will also, it's the first time he played this. I played it once before with my brother and once with the creator. So we're just going to give our first kind of thoughts on this game and feelings, and it's not going to be a massive video. It's not a review. It's just our initial impressions.
So straight off the bat, you have to go with like the emotions of the game. It's a game that I was expecting like a couple of hours, maybe. It took nearly 4 to 5 hours. Not too bad, but it was a game where we inevitably lost. And we lost because as a team, we didn't work together.
Very, very well put.
Personally, like in cooperative games, I normally find it that you normally end up with a bit of an alpha player that sort of plays
definitely
around. In this, I don't think we necessarily do that. When we play, we're quite conscious of not playing each other's
We definitely
boards.
try not to do that.
So you're completely reliant on other people reading their boards and understanding what their player's supposed to do.
And this will be
2.5 hours.
This will be the last time we mention this because I feel at this point grudges will develop. So yes, it's very important that as individuals we check the boards out. But to be fair, when you come into a really big game, and I mean,
it is a big
This
game.
is the box for it. When you come into a big game, a heavy game, it can be quite intimidating, and some of the rules can be a bit harder to understand. And sometimes you can just misread what's on your board.
And I think that's the point that I'm sort of trying to make, and one that is that you coming into these games, especially when you're investing for 5 hours, like having that extra 10-15 minutes to make sure that you've understood what your board actually does and how it plays together is really important. And like, I know that I am the first to like pick on someone when they're not playing a game. It's because I get invested, and that's the problem.
That's the thing here, because this is something you were caring about.
Yeah.
So you got angry about it because you cared what happened.
Yeah.
Which I mean is credit to the game because it made you actually immerse you enough that you were actually invested in the outcome. But at the same time, got you angry enough because you were like, you could see at one point, like I think at the end of chapter 3 or halfway through, there was no way we were going to come back from it. And that last chapter was just our kind of swan song, I guess.
And you have to play it to the end because you don't necessarily know what's going to come out. But
like there could have been a nuke in that last one, just took out all of chaos and reduced all their. No, we could.
But then you find yourself the next time that you're going to alpha play it because you know that. Well, especially if you're playing with people who have played it before, that you're going to go, yeah, but come on, you need to do this or you need to do that. And I find that really frustrating. Like overall, like I really enjoyed it, and I was really thematically I was in the game. I did think that the monster type baddies, the Chaos Horde, they were a little bit
overpowered.
Yeah, but again, you played this a couple of times and you didn't have the same outcome. So, and I think that's the thing. I think if you deal with those players early on,
as in the chaos,
chaos or the Legion, and you keep them down, you stop that snowball effect from happening.
So 2 interesting things I want to come back to you on that. The first one being alpha player. I do disagree with you that you would be alpha playing other people in future, just because each time those event cards completely changed the board. So between chapters we were going, right, what should we do next? And then the event card came out and totally changed everything. So although there is some elements of you knowing what other people have got on their things and you can advise, I don't feel there's as much alpha playing as something as like Pandemic, where you can essentially play the game on your own. Second of which, something else you mentioned, I can't remember what it was now, so that's really handy.
No, I was talking about...
you were talking about trying to limit the chaos from the beginning. But once again, those events, when I played before, it's been very even. There have been Legion and chaos.
And I think that my point wasn't necessarily one particular faction, but much more about like trying to keep on top of those.
There is quite a handy little thing in here which does tell you things you should think about in your first game to kind of keep ahead. And I did not read that out to anybody. So maybe if I'd done that beginning...
Maybe.
Or maybe after chapter 1 we'd looked at that and gone, we should do this. We could have gone to a better place. But overall, it's a difficult game.
It is hard. And the thing is, it's a hard game because it's a dice, effectively, it's a dice rolling game and it's damage mitigation. And actually, I feel really sorry for Will because he didn't get the dice rolls. And it's not that he didn't defeat anybody because he didn't get the dice rolls, and even when he went in with a full army and all of the modifiers, he still couldn't do it. And that's not anything of him as a player. That was the game
That's just
not giving him the
opportunity.
And I think that's frustrating. And I think if you're having a bad game, which you know, and you've invested 4 hours and was having a really bad game, it is frustrating. And actually, the funny thing was, it's almost like it was meant to be, because every time he pulled out cards to read, they were awful.
It's just how I stacked the deck, because I knew Willoughby pulling these out and he'd be the one who'd break the bad news to us. I think you're right. The interesting thing with this is we had like a bunch of items out there we couldn't use because none of us had magic, and I think if we came back to this game again, it'd be more of a we'd actually pick factions as opposed to just going, oh, we'll just choose this side. And I think if you come into it with like, there's an easier setting we could have done, but I think if you come into it with the whole cooperative mind and you played this before, you've probably got a better chance of winning. But if this is your first time playing this game, chances are you're not going to win.
And we're always at a disadvantage because when we pick factions, we always pick on t-shirt colours. So I'm always red, Will's yellow, and Will's always blue. And so obviously Will probably wasn't playing a faction that actually suited him as well. Yeah, in fact, actually, I think the faction I was playing as would have been much better for Will's style of gameplay. So, you know, it's understanding what players you're playing as to which faction probably would suit their game style.
And also with the factions as well, not only do you have the faction's own abilities and resource costs and stuff like that, you also have the fact that you've got a different hero as well. So that changes your dice and your feat deck as well. So there's a lot of variety in this game.
Huge.
Like tons. With all those different event cards. There was a ton left in the box as well, so it's never going to be the same first time. And when I played this with the creator the other day, he was like, it was a very close loss to us. But he was saying he's played like 1,000 times and it still surprises him, like how what the deck comes out.
And it's a lot of time. But the nice thing about it is that it's a sort of game that you come back to. Like if I had time today, I'd say, well, let's get it back out, let's play it again. And that is what is a good game to me.
Yeah. It's also worth noting you can actually just play 1 or 2 chapters if you did have a shorter session.
Yeah.
So I think we've kind of gone around a lot of this. It's just general thoughts on gameplay before we get to because I find this quite interesting that this is a 4x cooperative game, because there is nothing else out there like this, and there's not one game I can think of where you're actually against 2 different rival factions and trying to kind of go between them. Of course, when we played this, the chaos were way ahead, and those curses feel really overpowered.
I think a little bit of Scythe has got a bit of that, 2 dual factions, especially.
Have they got 2 factions in it?
Yeah, but to be fair, I haven't played the new expansion, which I know adds a new level. But anyway, the point being is that's not even a 4DX game, so it's not. My thoughts are 4DX games are very much, you can go and do what you want and experience what you need to do. And yes, you can do that. There are limitations, like moving your army around is really expensive, so you have to have those resources to make that happen, which is really good. So you have to spend the first couple of times building that resource up, building that engine to get you going through. And so in many respects, it's quite nice because it's as much as a resource builder mechanic as it is
it's resource management as well.
So it's got some really deep elements to the game in itself. The fact is that it's huge. It's really, really huge.
It's big, right?
It's massive. I don't think the problem is, and I understand why it's limited to 4 chapters, but I think, part of me was like, but I could do with another 2-3 chapters.
And the thing is, when I first played this, I was going for 2 chapters with my brother, and we got to the end of the 2nd chapter, and we're like, let's just carry on, because it just felt like I hadn't finished. I get that as well. Like they have the expansion, which is right here, by the way, where it actually brings in a really tough bad guy in that very last chapter. So maybe that would have been something that would have quelled that kind of thirst that you had for a bit more.
And we haven't played it enough. I think there needed to be some more riskier cards that gave you more of an advantage to perhaps deal with the board,
okay.
the board game players, if that makes sense. The curses just seem to be very difficult to get rid of, and not enough.
My only negative on this is the curses, because I feel like they are really overpowered. Because once they're out, there's only like, I think we had one or two quests which could remove those. There's no other way to do it. Maybe some items, but it just seemed like once they're out, it was very easy for the Chaos Horde to go out. But I guess this is something that comes onto us with how we played this, and like if we played this a couple of times, we'd be like, well, these curses are always going to come out, giving them victory points every round. So if we keep on top of the Horde, but with the right dice roll and
maybe another one of the players that we haven't played is a more magical player that gives you a stronger attack.
Which is something we kind of said after this. We didn't have any magic between us, which would have given us lightning bolts to do the druid abilities. So that would have been something going into next time we would think about. So let's just wrap this up. And Jamie, is this, and we'll quickly have a throw over to Will as well to see his thoughts on this quickly. But is this a buy, a play, or an avoid for you? Just from this isn't a review, this is first impressions.
So I definitely 100% play again. I think I would buy it on the back of the fact that it's definitely a game for that you could bring out and play a number of times. So for me, that's definitely a buy.
For me, it's a buy because I have nothing else like this in my collection. I've got at least 3 games in my collection. So it's great fun. The couple of times I've played this, I've had a good time, and it's not too difficult rules-wise once you've played this through 4 rounds after 3 to 4 hours and then gone, oh, we forgot about this. But I think playing this again with you guys, you'd know the rules a bit better, things would be a bit quicker, and the initial play time is always going to be a lot more, especially when we're stopping for breaks and things. But anyway, so it's definitely a buy for me. And Will, we're going to throw it over to you. Just give us a quick summary of your thoughts and if you'd buy, play, or avoid.
Well, I thought the game was really good, minus the fact that I read the board wrong and the fact that I got bad dice rolls. But I can't do much on that, and the cards that I was getting was just an unlucky game in my case, which caused because I wasn't able to do anything, all these are knock-on effects of chaos and the empire and the legions taking over and destroying everyone else, which is just because of that, it just let everyone else down a bit. But another playthrough, it could have been completely someone else. Someone else could be having all the bad luck and causing everyone else's team to fall and flounder, and you're having to pull them up through. And that's what I liked about it, in the fact that you have that ability, plus with the fact you can make it harder or easier based on how you play through it. It might be we play through the same difficulty again, we find it much better than we did before, a lot easier.
So we might try it mode next, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, perfect.
Exactly.
So is it buy, play, or avoid?
I'll definitely buy this game.
Buy, so 3 buys there, and this is the first impression, so it might change after we played a few times, but it's all a buy.
So on the basis that we are in my house, I have 2 children that have been sworn to silence for nearly 6 hours. I think it is time on that.
Yeah. So thank you very much for watching this, guys, and I hope you enjoyed the whole kind of playthrough. If you missed any videos, go back and check them out, and if you saw any mistakes, let us know. We've been Die Rolling, the ever-excitable Adam.
The less so angry Jamie.
And
the Traitor Will.
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and of course YouTube. So please like and subscribe to all the different things and find out about the interesting things we're doing here. To keep in mind, future-wise, we're also going to be doing a playthrough of the campaign mode for this in the not too distant future. So stay tuned for that.
In the meantime, stay safe and keep rocking.